So I brought my Audi R8 into REPerformance. Obviously some of you may know that I'm sort of undergoing some power issues. It's running 350 brake. It should be running about 420 brake. I've came here to see if the guys can find out whether we can find those 70 horses which have somehow gone missing somewhere. The guys have completely stripped it down at the minute. They took the spark plugs out in no time. First step is going to be a compression test. Fingers crossed that's going to be okay, and then we can look at other issues. But if this comes back bad, then I don't know what's going to happen, but fingers crossed.
Closer, closer, closer. Closer, closer from the last one.
So, what have we got on today then, Mr. Ricky?
This is Matt Armstrong's R8, the crazy toffee coloured one.
What did you say, hearing-aid-beige?
Hearing-aid-beige, yeah. So we think we've pretty much diagnosed it because we had to wash all the oil off the back end. But yeah, so I think it's using a bit of oil. So we'll pull the plugs, do a compression test, put a camera down the board and do a leak down test, and our Matt's gonna hide. It's getting all shy.
There he is.
Cool.
Like it.
So number one's really low.
Yeah.
Number one's sort of 40, 50 PSI off. $160.
What's going up?
It's a good one. It's a good one, that one.
$160. So,
how bad is this going to cost?
just looking at that,
Yeah.
so you've got 130 on cylinder 1 and 180 on cylinder 8.
Okay.
So you've got 50 PSI difference across cylinders.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd say no more than, that's massive. No, 10% is the maximum. So if you say 10% of your highest,
Okay.
is what, 20 PSI. So
Yeah.
160s, you're all right. Bank 1 is not very healthy.
Off. Yeah.
Look out a little bit, Matty. So you can see how grotty, how oily the combustion chamber is.
Yeah.
So it's combustion oil. And then as you go down, you'll always get, this is just fallout where oil burns.
Right.
And you get, in the same way you get carbon build up on your valves, you'll get similar sort of stuff inside the head.
Oh, right.
I'll show you the plug in a minute. But this, ultimately, this has come from, so if you can imagine, your oil control ring is there to leave an even oil film over the cylinder wall.
Yeah.
But what happens is when you get debris down the side of the bore, or your ring pack picks up, or you wear the rings out, what you get is you get these grooves, and if you can imagine then, it's like the grouting in tiles.
Yeah.
So when you throw water on the floor, the tile might be dry, but the grouting's soaking wet.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing. So what happens then is, if you can imagine, when the piston's coming back up the bore, going down the bore, and it's creating vacuum in the combustion chamber, it's just going to suck oil up that it's like a tap. It'll just suck oil straight up into it, and that's why you burn oil. But also the other side of that is when you're trying to combust your mixture in the chamber, you've just got a leak.
Right.
So that's always the signs really.
And what would that be caused by? Is that caused from carbon, or is it caused?
No, carbon won't do it. That's normally either the sign of something's gone down it.
Yeah.
Or it's worn, and when they wear, the piston's allowed to shift.
Right.
With the mileage, and then what happens is you get pickup on the edge of the bore.
Yeah.
And then that drag away, so that's a drag down the bore.
Bloody hell, so small. Eh?
Yeah. When you get that out, that'd be massive. If you can see it on a crappy little camera like this,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
You get that out, you'll like be able to park a tank in it. Right. First thing is you get it apart.
Yeah.
And you look at it and you see how bad it is. I think we do a leak down on one and see how bad it is. Your valve seats are dirty on one. Can we look at pictures? That's your valve,
Yeah.
and that's your seat. That should
Okay.
be shiny.
Jesus.
So the seat, when the valve sits on the seat, that should be metal to metal contact.
Yeah, yeah. And that's
So all
just-
that oil shit that's burning,
Yeah.
sticking on a valve seat. So we'll have leak down out of the valves as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You've just basically got a dirty, like a poorly combustion chamber
Yeah.
cylinder because of what's going on a combustion wall. On the cylinder wall, all that oil's getting in, and then it's just making your valve.
Yeah.
It's just making everything worse and worse and
Plugging
worse.
everything. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I would say engine out, heads off. We need to look at the block. If you can see those scores are that bad on that block, you're pretty much on the limit of what you can do with the block.
Okay.
So it could be that the block's right off.
So, do you think it would be better to, like, what's the sort of cost involved in? Would you put a whole new one in, or was it just
a brand
like
new engine is 12.5 grand plus the VAT.
So what are we?
Off Audi. If you want to start building an engine, or to give you an example, the linered blocks we do on the V10s are like 6 grand.
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
That's with pistons.
yeah.
So if you're into there, you can then service the heads. You would probably say you're probably going to need guides at 100,000 miles. So the guide is what the head runs in. So this is a pair of Lambo heads out of this. So at 100,000 miles is where you stop. It's how far you want to go. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So this is having a full engine build, but we've got to change the guides because when I put the valve in, I can rock the valve back and forth.
Right, okay, yeah.
So
yeah,
there's no
yeah.
point going to all the cost of
And then-
doing a lot
yeah.
of the block work and then leaving the heads in poor condition.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I would work on probably doing a bottom end.
Okay.
I don't think we can get a block. I'll look, but I don't think you can get a second-hand block. I don't think you can get a new block on its own. I
Yeah.
think you can only get an engine. So then everything else we can get. So we can get
Right.
everything else. It's just what we do with the block.
So you'd say that's the most cost-effective way of.
Yeah, unless you find a second-hand engine. A complete second-hand engine and just drop it in.
So do you want to give us a little update, Rick, on where we are with the R8?
So MAHA has took plugs out, done compression test, and it's not good. 180 is the best and 130 is the worst. So we've chucked the camera down it, and the balls, it's got scratches and marks in it. The valve seats have got all carbon and oil deposits on them. And then we've done a leak down, and we've got a load of leak into the inlet manifold as well. So I think we'll put together some options. But it looks like engine out, engine build. But I think Matt wants to look at going boosted anyway. There's too many Matts today.
Everybody's called Matt
Everybody's
today.
called Matt.
Hey, Matt.
Strong name. Yeah, so we'll put together some options on what you can do to go forward, but I think he wants to go boosted, so we'll sort something out. I think it will be back. Be a cool little project if he does go for it. So we're just putting it back together. He's got a pretty bad oil leak, so we'll chuck it up in the air. We'll just check what oil leak is coming from the gearbox.
Happy days.
Yeah,
And it's not at all cold in here, is it?
I'm toasty warm, mate. You and your crims.
No
hat.
comment.
Yeah.